Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Andrew, and welcome back to Sports But Casually. And welcome back to episode 3, I think? Yeah, 3 of the weekly NBA news series. Just a summary of week 4 of the NBA, catching you up to date, what important notes happened, injuries, and who I think the players of the week are, and the rookies of the week. So this week was a very eventful week in the NBA. A lot of big trades, big news coming, and it was up and down. There was a kind of a weird week because they had a lot of postponements of games. But of course, we'll head into that in the big news head or big headline section of the video. Right now, as always, we're gonna start off with the injury report. Just remember, players in green were from the other two previous injury reports, and I'll leave it up on the screen and you guys could check it out. So with that out the way, let's get to our big headlines. Firstly, this one doesn't really have a specific date it happened on, but it happened through the entirety of the week. So there were only about 44 games played this week in the NBA, and that is because a total of 10 games were postponed due to medical protocols due to the pandemic. And I will have a picture of all the games that were postponed on the screen starting now. Secondly, on the 13th of January, James Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets in a blockbuster 4-team trade. So if you want to see my reactions and my thoughts on the James Harden trade, I would leave a link to my previous video in the description. Moving on the 12th of January, the NBA had a board of governors meeting to determine different ways they could tighten their protocols involving with the pandemic and the season. So due to the number of positive cases that were popping up and games having to be postponed, they decided to have this meeting, and basically the protocols, at least from what I have seen, stemmed from less interaction with players during, pre and post game, and more tighter mask wearing policies, especially for players and coaches on the sidelines. And finally, Dallas Mavericks player Kristaps Porzingis returned to action from injury on the 13th of January in a game versus the Charlotte Hornets. Porzingis has been out since he tore meniscus in his right knee. I think it's right knee. During the first round of the 2020 NBA playoffs against the Clippers. And I just wish that he'll be healthy for the rest of the season. He's been struggling with injuries throughout his career, but just hope he's at least healthy for the rest of the season. And now we move on to my players of the week, starting as always with the Eastern Conference. And before we get into it, I just want to say if games keep on getting postponed, then it'll be a little more difficult for me to pick a player of the week, because you have some teams that will only play like 2 games a week while others will play 4. So just basically who I'm feeling is like, if I pick a player of the week who only played twice, it is what it is. I couldn't control it. My Eastern Conference player of the week is Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls. He only played 2 games this week due to postponements, but in those 2 games he put up 40 points, about 6.5 assists, 7 rebounds, shooting about 58% from the field and 60% from three-point land on about 15 attempts. The only bad thing during those 2 games is that he averaged about 5.5 turnovers a game, which is pretty horrible. And I know what you must be thinking. Why would I pick a player that only played in 2 games this week and lost both of them? During a couple of weeks now, the Chicago Bulls have been playing a little short man. About 4 of their players have been on the medical protocols list, although they did get Lauri Markkanen back against the game at OKC. So it was kind of just the Zach LaVine show for these past few games, especially before this week. And he's been kind of single-handedly keeping the Bulls afloat in games and carrying their offense. And I think that deserves a little shine. And besides, I'm a Zach LaVine stan, so. And now for my Western Conference Player of the Week. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this was really hard. I was like in a four-way tie between Kawhi, Damian Lillard, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic. But it was very difficult. They all put up great stats, but I had to give it to Kawhi. I think the only deciding factor, because I think they were all kind of neck and neck in stats, is that he was the only one to lead his team to all wins this week. So I guess that gave him a little bit better of an edge. So my Western Conference Player of the Week is Kawhi Leonard. During the games he played this week, he averaged about 30 points, a little above 6 assists a game, 4 rebounds. He had 2 steals a game, and he did this all while shooting about a little above 58% from the field. And he also shot 62.5% from 3 on about a little above 5 attempts per game, which isn't a lot, but it's very efficient. I mean, as we know, Kawhi is more of a mid-range shooter and does most of his damage from inside the three-point line. Now it's time to get into my Rookies of the Week, starting of course with the Eastern Conference. And my Eastern Conference Rookie of the Week will be Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers. During the course of the week, Maxey averaged about 14.5 points, a little above 3 assists and 3 rebounds a game, doing it on 45.5% from the field and abysmal 14.3% from 3-point. He seems more of a mid-range scorer to me, but one thing that he did that really impressed me is that he could really get his own shot. I didn't know he could really go off the dribble and get his own shot like that. Maybe it was due to the more playing time. I'll have to see it more on a consistent basis when he's back to being a rotational piece. And my Western Conference Rookie of the Week, I'm going to give it to Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies. He had a dud on Wednesday night, but other than that game, he's been a solid contributor and role player for this team. He comes off the bench, he provides good enough offense, and he's pretty decent on the defensive side. In the 3 games he played this week, he averaged a little more than 7 points, about 1 assist and 3 rebounds a game, and he shot 64% from the field on almost 5 attempts a game. It was actually strange this week's stat line for him because he cut down on his 3-point attempts this week by a lot. He only took 4 in those 3 games this week before, and he used to average 4 a game. One thing he does need to do that I would like him to see do more and work on is drawing contact when he's in the paint and attacking the basket, because his free throw attempts is pretty low. Last but not least, let's get into the current standings as of Saturday, 16th of January. I'll leave them up comparing them to week 3 to week 4, see which teams moved up, which teams moved down, and you guys could check out, see how your favorite team did this week. And that's pretty much it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying the content I'm putting out. I would leave a link to my playlist down below in the description so you guys could check out the week 3 and week 2 news and updates that I've done, and also other videos I've done on this channel. I will see you next week with week 5's updates and news, but I'll see you when I see you. Take care.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.